What if the script of your life wasn't entirely your own, but subtly influenced, carefully crafted without your conscious awareness? The premise might sound like a conspiracy theory, but what if a specific CIA document, or the knowledge derived from it, outlines the very methods used to shape our perceived reality, turning the CIA and other power structures into puppeteers of the public mind? This isn't some abstract intellectual exercise. It's about the very choices you make every day, from the products you buy to the beliefs you hold. We're talking about a spectrum of influence that ranges from subtly nudging your personal preferences through targeted advertising, all the way to the larger-scale manipulation of societal beliefs that can sway elections and dictate the course of history. Understanding these techniques isn't just about protecting yourself from manipulation. It's about unlocking the power to consciously create your own reality, free from external control. This is about personal responsibility, rigorous critical thinking, and most importantly, empowering yourself with actionable insights, no BS. To understand how this works, let's briefly look at the historical context. The CIA, like many intelligence agencies, has a long history of exploring mind control and information warfare, most notably with projects like MK Ultra. While we won't delve into the sensationalized aspects, it's crucial to acknowledge that these projects aim to understand how to influence and control human behavior on a mass scale. The core tools in this arsenal are psychological warfare, media manipulation, and the exploitation of cognitive biases. These aren't just abstract concepts. They're meticulously crafted strategies designed to shape our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The goal here is to identify the problem manufactured consent, for example, then analyze the methods used to achieve it, and finally, offer potential solutions to reclaim your own cognitive sovereignty. Consider how advertising, for instance, doesn't just sell you a product. It targets your subconscious desires, creating a perceived need that didn't exist before. But if reality can be shaped, the crucial questions become: who is doing the shaping, and to what end? What specific techniques are being employed, hidden in plain sight, right now? And what knowledge are they desperately trying to keep from you? We will begin to pull back the curtain on these hidden strategies, offering examples that you can recognize in your own life. Pay close attention to how social media algorithms curate your feeds, reinforcing existing biases and creating echo chambers. Notice how political narratives are carefully constructed to evoke emotional responses and manipulate public opinion. In this video, we'll uncover the secrets of reality shaping and arm you with the tools to reclaim control over your own mind, to create your own reality, no BS. So, with the understanding that external forces are attempting to control our thoughts and behaviors, let's delve into the specifics. How exactly do these entities, like the CIA, go about shaping reality? What verifiable techniques, hidden in plain sight, are used to manipulate the masses? And more importantly, how can you recognize them? One of the core methods, as gleaned from declassified documents and credible secondary analyses, revolves around what's known as perception management. While you won't find documents explicitly stating reality shaping, you will find studies on propaganda, psychological warfare, and public opinion manipulation. These techniques are all designed to influence behavior by shaping how people perceive the world. Think about it. If you can control what people believe to be true, you can control their actions. These methods often operate by bypassing conscious thought, targeting our subconscious beliefs and emotional responses. Subliminal messaging, for example, uses subtle cues, images, or sounds flashed so quickly that the conscious mind doesn't register them to influence behavior. Studies have shown that these cues can prime individuals to make certain choices, like selecting a particular brand of drink. This manipulation occurs without the individual's awareness, making it a potent tool for shaping preferences and behaviors. Consider the implications. We are constantly bombarded with information, and much of it is designed to influence us on a subconscious level, nudging us towards predetermined outcomes. This is the essence of control influencing behavior without explicit coercion, subtly shaping the reality we perceive. Building upon perception management, psychological warfare represents another powerful tool in the arsenal of reality shaping. These tactics are designed to influence thoughts, emotions, and behaviors on a grand scale. Fear appeals, emotional manipulation, and the creation of false narratives are all core components. Take, for instance, the lead-up to the Iraq War. Intelligence was manipulated and selectively presented to the public, creating a narrative of imminent threat. This narrative, fueled by fear appeals, was used to gain public support for military intervention. The consequences of this manufactured consent were devastating, highlighting the real-world impact of psychological warfare. The ethical implications of these tactics are immense. When governments or other powerful entities deliberately manipulate public opinion, they undermine the foundations of democracy and erode trust in institutions. Critical thinking becomes not just a skill, but a necessity, a shield against the barrage of misinformation and manipulation. We have to ask ourselves, are we truly forming our own opinions, or are we simply echoing the narratives that have been carefully crafted for us? This brings us to the media, which acts as a key conduit for shaping narratives and influencing public opinion. Media outlets possess the power to frame stories, set agendas, and selectively present information, thus influencing how we understand the world. Consider how a single event can be portrayed in drastically different ways depending on the news source. For instance, a protest might be framed as a peaceful demonstration by one outlet and a violent riot by another, eliciting vastly different emotional responses from viewers. The role of media consolidation further exacerbates this issue, as a handful of corporations control the majority of news outlets, creating the potential for widespread bias. This is amplified by our own tendency to seek out information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs, a phenomenon known as confirmation bias. Social media echo chambers exemplify this perfectly. Algorithms curate our feeds to show us content that aligns with our views, reinforcing our beliefs and isolating us from diverse perspectives. This creates a distorted view of reality, where dissenting opinions are marginalized and our own biases are amplified. The question then becomes, are we consuming news to become informed or to simply validate our existing worldview? But the problem isn't just external manipulation. Our own minds can be used against us. Cognitive biases, inherent flaws in our thinking, can lead to flawed decision-making and increase our susceptibility to manipulation. Confirmation bias, as we've already discussed, leads us to seek out information that confirms our beliefs while ignoring contradictory evidence. The availability heuristic causes us to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled, often due to media coverage. Anchoring bias occurs when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, the anchor, even if it's irrelevant when making decisions. Imagine walking into a clothing store and seeing a jacket priced at $500, then immediately discounted to $250. The initial price, even if arbitrary, anchors your perception of value, making the discounted price seem like a great deal, even if it's still overpriced. These biases are exploited every day, shaping our choices and beliefs without our conscious awareness. It's as if our minds have built-in vulnerabilities that can be exploited to control us. So, how do we break free from this cycle of manipulation? Awareness is the first, crucial step. By recognizing the tactics used to shape reality, we can begin to reclaim our cognitive sovereignty. This means questioning sources, seeking diverse perspectives, and being mindful of our emotional responses. Media literacy is a vital skill in this process. It involves critically analyzing media content, identifying potential biases, and understanding how narratives are constructed. For example, take a recent news article and analyze it. Who is the author? What is their agenda? And what sources are they using? Are there any obvious biases or logical fallacies? Challenging assumptions is equally important. Instead of blindly accepting information, we should always ask ourselves, is this really true, and what evidence supports it? By actively questioning the information we receive, we can begin to dismantle the carefully constructed narratives that seek to control us. But intellectual understanding alone isn't enough. Realizing the extent to which reality can be manipulated can be emotionally overwhelming, triggering feelings of anger, fear, or helplessness. This is where emotional regulation comes in. Maintaining clarity and objectivity in the face of manipulation requires the ability to manage our emotional responses. Simple mindfulness techniques can be incredibly helpful. When exposed to triggering information, take a moment to pause and breathe. Focus on your breath and observe your emotions without judgment. Acknowledge the feeling anger, fear, whatever it may be, and then gently release it. This simple act of awareness can create space between you and your emotional response, allowing you to think more clearly. Remember, awareness and emotional regulation are not sources of despair, but tools for empowerment. They allow you to navigate a complex and potentially manipulative world with greater clarity and resilience. So, let's bring it all together. We've explored how reality shaping is a deliberate process, not just random chance. We've seen how psychological techniques are weaponized to subtly manipulate our perceptions, and we've examined the immense role the media plays in constructing the narratives that dominate our understanding. We've also uncovered how our own cognitive biases act as vulnerabilities, making us susceptible to these manipulations. By understanding these elements, you're now armed with a powerful toolkit, a means to navigate the world with open eyes, rather than sleepwalking through a carefully constructed illusion. Think of the CIA documents not as blueprints for control, but as reverse-engineered instruction manuals, showing us exactly how the control is attempted. This video, hopefully, has sparked the awareness needed to recognize these tactics. And that awareness, remember, is your key to liberation, to reclaiming your mental sovereignty and refusing to be a passive recipient of prepackaged realities. It's not about succumbing to fear or paranoia, but about embracing critical thinking and making informed decisions about the world you choose to inhabit. This perspective shift, from passive consumer to active creator, is paramount. But the implications of what we've discussed extend far beyond individual awareness. The examples of reality shaping we've uncovered, from declassified CIA documents to the subtle biases in media reporting, connect to larger, unsettling trends. We see increasing polarization in public discourse, a deliberate fracturing of society into opposing camps, making constructive dialogue nearly impossible. We witness an erosion of trust in institutions, not always unjustified, as more and more people question the motives and agendas of those in power. And perhaps most dangerously, we face the unchecked rise of misinformation, spreading like wildfire through social media and blurring the lines between fact and fiction. Remember the problem, analysis, solution, pattern. The problems we've discussed are complex and deeply embedded in the fabric of our society. But the analytical tools and solutions we've explored, media literacy, emotional regulation, and conscious belief restructuring, offer a way forward, a means of reclaiming our autonomy, one individual at a time. What is at stake here is nothing less than the protection of free will, our ability to choose our own thoughts, beliefs, and actions, unburdened by manipulation. True understanding, however, requires more than just intellectual assent. It demands practical application and personal experience. Are you willing to engage with these concepts, to put them to the test in your own life? Now, let's address some lingering questions. Some might argue that the idea of widespread reality shaping is simply a conspiracy theory, an overblown fantasy with no basis in reality. However, as we've seen, declassified documents and credible research provide ample evidence of deliberate attempts to manipulate public opinion. Others might feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the problem, feeling helpless against such powerful forces. But remember, Even small acts of resistance can have a significant impact. Every time you question a source, challenge an assumption, or practice mindfulness, you are chipping away at the foundations of manipulation. So, what concrete steps can you take to reclaim control of your own reality, starting today? First, cultivate a habit of critical thinking. Question everything you hear, read, and see. Seek out diverse perspectives, and be wary of information that confirms your pre-existing beliefs. Second, practice emotional regulation. Learn to recognize and manage your emotional responses to external stimuli. When faced with triggering information, take a step back, breathe, and observe your emotions without judgment. Third, restructure limiting beliefs. Identify beliefs that are holding you back and challenge their validity. Replace them with empowering beliefs that support your goals and aspirations. The initial question we posed was, how does the CIA and other power structures shape reality? The nuanced answer is this. They attempt to shape reality by manipulating our perceptions, exploiting our cognitive biases, and controlling the narratives we consume. But their power is not absolute. By developing awareness, cultivating critical thinking, and reclaiming our emotional sovereignty, we can break free from their control and create our own reality. But our journey doesn't end here. It's just the beginning. As you become more aware of reality-shaping techniques, new questions will inevitably arise. How can we create media that promotes truth and understanding, rather than division and manipulation? What are the ethical implications of using reality-shaping techniques for positive purposes, such as promoting social justice or environmental awareness? And perhaps most importantly, how can we cultivate a society that values critical thinking, intellectual honesty, and individual autonomy? These are complex questions that require ongoing exploration and dialogue. There are vast zones for further research, from the history of propaganda to the psychology of persuasion and the impact of technology on human consciousness. Share your own experiences, insights, and questions in the comments below. Let's create a community where we can learn from each other, challenge each other, and support each other in our quest for truth. In future videos, we'll delve into specific case studies of reality shaping in action, interview experts in relevant fields, and explore alternative models of reality that challenge our conventional assumptions. So, subscribe to the channel, stay engaged, and let's continue this journey together. The power to shape your reality lies within